Yo, how are you doing, folks? Welcome to number 4 of a recording today at Live at Product Earth with the Simpa Life podcast. I am joined, I was going to say this week, I'm so used to saying this week, this episode, this issue right now, by Sam from CBD Cannasseurs. How are you doing, brother?
Very well, mate, thanks. Very well, very well.
Welcome. I've wanted to have a chat with you for a while. I actually want to get you on one of the longer podcast episodes as well at some point, because the insight that you've got to confectionery and into that side of the industry, I think, would be invaluable to the viewers and the listeners of this podcast. So, with that being said, kind of what's led you to Product Earth this weekend? How did this all come about for you?
So, Product Earth is actually where we launched in 2017, which it seemed like was like the right place to launch our brand. Since that point, the event itself is without a doubt for me the favourite event of the year, cannabis related event. Also, James, who runs as the CEO of it, I have a huge amount of respect for him, and I love what he's trying to do and how much sort of passion and work he's put into this event to keep this going for us, which we're all doing a lot of work to, like, in your own respect, in our own respect, going through a lot of obstacles, a lot of the time ups and downs, but he's doing the same thing with this event in general. So too, one, I love the event. Two, I'm just happy to support the event more than anything. Yeah. So in terms of what led us here now, with the way the current industry is, I've been saying that rather than, usually I'm actually quite, it's not really about sell. It's more brand, to the future, wholesale, awareness, just talking, educating. This year is slightly different because the way the industry is, it's meant that actually I'm not that optimistic necessarily about the future. So we've just come to sort of sell. Yeah. But also it's been quite nice because I feel for the first time in quite a while within the CBD industry, I'm liberated to be able to say what I want to say, because I feel the way that we're being pushed, which you might want to talk about coming up about novel food and stuff, is meaning it's pushed me to the point where I've always been quite reserved, trying to toe the line, and at this moment in time I feel it's on me morally, and people like me to start actually speaking up and speaking the truth on what we think is sensible policy in this country.
Well, exactly that. It should be industry-led. You guys have carved out this corner. You have fought against prohibition. You have fought against ignorance to allow people like Beyonce to launch CBD brands. You know what I mean? And it is because of guys like yourself that kind of went, we want to figure out how to, you want the end market. You want the freedom to produce that. And so you've then created a brand. You've then created products that help serve the needs of the market within the restraints and constraints of the regulation. But yeah, I respect the hell out of it that you want to push that. I mean, it's one of the first things I remember saying to you in 2017 when I first saw your product, was how impressed I was by the sheer volume of detail. In 2017, compared to the vast majority of CBD producers and brands out there, you'd hit it. You'd fucking hit it. You described what it was, where it was from. Sort of, you broke down how the percentages work. Nobody was even getting close to that. And you were trying to set a standard. The seal inside as well, and it was just it was very profound. Like it literally stuck with me. It really just stuck with me. And then obviously we've worked together. You sponsored the Autumn Expo that we did as part of the Cannabis Club. So each one of our guests in the 24 bedroom, they got everybody adored it. And again, it's great to see that you've managed to weather the issues that have been happening over the past few years. But exactly that, I respect the hell out of, you're kind of seeing, I don't want to say the writing's on the wall necessarily, but things are getting a bit
tight. Let's put it that way.
So that being said, since the FSA, the Food Safety Authority, have taken over, how have things changed in the industry for you?
So since the announcement about novel food, initially I was very, very relaxed. I thought it was probably going to be another false dawn, where they say one thing and it never quite materialises. A lot of people were sort of getting panicky, and I was saying that it'll be fine. And then as it got closer and closer, it seemed, this is actually the way it's going to go. And the applications then started to, the reality of what they were started to come about. Now, my personal view was 6 months ago, well, just before March, actually before the deadline, was that my view was that why would I want to pay so much money for an application when, from a betting perspective, if I had to bet on it, and the sort of the noise that was coming out about THC and what was or wasn't going to be allowed. I mean, it was already down to a ridiculous level. You know, even my bank in an internal review was talking about saying, oh, you know, it needs to be at 0.01% and all this sort of. I'm saying, well, where are you actually getting this from?
Yeah.
There's this 1 milligram talks about. Now I thought they were talking about zero tolerance to THC.
Yeah.
Now what we do with our products is all about whole plant extracts. It's always been about whole plant extracts. Yes, with that there is small amounts of THC in that product. However, you know, trace amounts of THC. We know that, but it's in a safe, sensible amount.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's a sensible amount. The issue is, as you said, that 0.01. That's coming from one regulator.
Yeah.
That's coming from one monolithic authority that are self-appointed.
Yeah.
And the reason they want that is because companies like yourself can't get down to that. I found out the other day that my fucking disgust, right?
Yeah.
That 1 milligram rule
Yeah.
is the same for single product to wholesale.
Yeah.
You import CBD product, if you import a key of that shit,
Yeah.
you have got to get under that 1 milligram in total. That is.
So basically, we
wow.
need, so there's no THC. That's
Yeah,
what
what it means is no organic phytocannabinoid
No.
CBD. It can only mean synthetics
It can.
or
Yeah.
washed
stripped
products.
out.
Purely stripped out.
No, and I'm
Isolates,
not.
yeah.
I refuse to go down that route. So morally, since doing this, you know, even launching it, we were doing that before 2017. So let's call it 5-6 years of people coming to me, needing sort of help, as it were, and the product's helping them. There is no way now that I can switch to products which I know are not as effective just for the sake of a business. So I'm in catch-22 where that's why now I feel more liberated, because I'm so almost pissed off with the fact that they've made it to this point. We've tried to do things properly, we tried to do things sensibly, and we're now at a point where it looks like it's not guaranteed, and we have, before the March deadline, I didn't think it was worth putting in an application. However, a couple of people that I knew in the industry, very respected, spoke to me right beforehand and said, what, you're not doing it? Have you not heard that there's whole plant extracts? So if someone's getting
very last minute. I got in, the European International Hemp Association. They put in a consortium.
That's right.
Thing, and literally as soon as I found that out, so I wrote the blogs at the time, I was trying to, my foreman off the hook. A number of companies went, what the hell is this? And I went, well, I've spotted these guys and this, and I quoted a few people, and then there was that last push from everybody, because again, it was a few regulators regurgitating their own narrative, their own propaganda, going, no, you can't do it, but if you pay us, we'll make it right.
Oh, I heard that many times over the years. Yeah, of course. I mean, that I was 2 weeks before the deadline, and someone said to me, no, the European hemp, and the thing is, I'm going to say straight, so we're sub-licensing because our supplier is part of that consortium. Yeah. So we're then sub-licensing our products off that, which is better for us, it's cheaper, we don't have to pay 400 now, whatever all that nonsense is. So we then just got in time, because I thought, sod's law, if I don't, they're going to allow whole plant extracts with THC in, and I'm not going to be allowed to sell them. And that to me would be like, you know, I can't believe it. So I put in the application, still thinking I don't really believe this THC or the whole plant extracts are even going to get approved still. And here we are, 6 months later, and no one's really heard anything. A few companies, I know a few synthetic applications have gone through.
Well, yeah, exactly. They've pushed the big boys through because they're the ones that have got the patents, and the reason they're doing that is because of I term it now the medical cannabis industrial complex. Yeah. They are so patented. Within that is big pharma, is oil, is alcohol and tobacco, because even as much as they want recreational markets of this, they know if they invest and create the medical arms first, they can make that bank, and then eventually when the world cottons on, they can then switch and go, our cigarette facilities can make these cannabis joints.
Ready to go.
Can produce these liquids. Yeah, exactly. So we can all kind of see it. And it takes the fortitude and bravery of people like yourself to kind of go, no, I've seen the efficacy of this. We have customers that don't just like the taste or whatever. It is helping them change their lives and helping better them, helping them grow as a person. And I respect the hell out of you for going, no, I'm not going to kowtow down to self-appointed regulators and bullshit bureaucracy and hearsay effectively.
So to me, in that respect anyway, like compliance to what I believe is a nonsensical regulation doesn't, bringing the levels of THC down so low doesn't make any sense. If they're doing it for safety, but they also want people to have the best treatment or the best product, they wouldn't do this. So I can't comply with it because otherwise I feel I'm complicit. If I feel like I'd send everyone down the river by me now saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to now even switch over to a product which I know is going to be approved and start doing that because I know it's going to be to the detriment of the people taking my products. I have a moral responsibility to them that I cannot do that. I'd rather shut the business. It's as simple as that.
We've got this window. I mean, the FSA themselves said about 17 months.
Well,
it's going to take about 17 months for them to work through the backlog. So if more people like yourself stand up in that time, when they eventually work through it and they go, and all of you have done it anyway, and you proved efficacy, there's no overdose, because cannabis doesn't cause an overdose. There's no instances of unsafe behavior or consequences. How the hell can they then enforce the idea of this? And if you lot sort of banded together, unionized especially,
this is what
no ACI, no CMC, maybe look at the Cannabis Industry Council or things like that and find strength in numbers, because you guys rep this. When they come in and these big boys like Nestle and Budweiser and Starbucks come and buy this wholesale, it's because you fuckers stood up there and you built it.
I know.
You got the customer base. You converted the grannies, the naysayers, the people who are like, I don't want that skunky pot stuff, but I really enjoy it.
And we're then doing all the legwork, groundwork for these people to come in and go, nice, we'll take that off you now.
And then they're going to wash our legacy away. This is why we do the podcast and everything, is to record and document our history and what is going on so that people can know what has happened, so that no matter how far they try to fuck us, no matter how twisted they try to make it,
we know what it was. So all I would say on that note then is whole plant extract. If there ever comes a time when we don't have access to it, CBD, the most effective CBD, is whole plant extract, and it needs to be protected. It's like a really precious thing, and I feel so many people are being either silent now, or they're slowly sliding down the river into this narrow spectrum. Oh, we're doing it, but we're now taking this out of it and taking that out of it. And I'm saying, hang on, do we know is that going to be as effective as what it was?
I think it's those two thoughts, though, isn't it? It's as a business person kind of going, we need profit, we need perpetuation of the company, we need to employ people to keep their lives going. We also want the product to be ethical.
We have to look at why we started doing this.
So many
as a business, then of course you're going to protect the business. If you started it because you wanted to genuinely help people and it's a passion, then I'm too principled to take that. My soul wouldn't allow me to do that. The guilt wouldn't. It's just as simple as that. You know? But it's a limbo time, and it's not a very comfortable time. It's quite an anxious time. For all that we've built, to know that it could well be just almost pulled away from me. But one thing I will say to anybody that's got a CBD company and is worried, please don't police yourself in this situation. The fact that if it comes to the point where applications are refused, or they're saying, whatever it is, for me, until someone comes to the door and says you can't trade anymore, I'm not going to shut the doors myself, if that makes sense. Sometimes people almost give up. They're worried about that, and they'll do it themselves. And I sometimes think, have they got the resources? Do they have the? We'll see.
We know it's the FSA have been given authority, and we know that the FSA are getting their training from the ACI. So this is where the 001 thing comes from. So at the minute we're still in the Wild West. So basically, if you've kind of got the fortitude and the balls, guys, stick with it. I guess in a lot of ways, and reach out to other companies, man. And like I said, the idea of collectivism, unionizing into a thing where you have a common charter of going, this is what we want. We may have different products and ideas, but ultimately the space is to create products that actually work. And with each regulation, go further, not backwards. This is what, at the minute, we had this wonderful time, 2015, where all of a sudden it hit the scene and everyone went, what the hell is this?
We thought the 0.2%. It was the grey area, It was almost, people knew that was the hemp production, but there wasn't anything really.
People spoke with the confidence, and that's what we're doing. That's what you're doing now. And there's enough people, I guarantee you, that if the FSA came to you within a sentence, they would lose any sense of confidence in that position, because you would know far more than them.
Exactly. I think that's why they're a bit worried about talking to CBD companies, because they don't know what they're talking about.
Give me a year to do the training and figure out whose pocket they're in, and then we'll see where it goes. So I suppose the last point I want to ask you about is what can we do, or what do you want to see, I suppose, the product Earth next year? How do you want to see things evolve in the industry and like I say, for this event?
This conversation to me, I don't quite get. It's been really good actually. That the turnout today has been pretty decent. However, I've never really understood with the cannabis culture in the UK and how many people there are that either smoke it, use it, grow it, produce it, have a business with it, but yet that it seems to be almost like, I know a lot of people and none of them seem to come to this show, very few, but when they do come, they absolutely love it, and they think it's one of the best things they've ever been to. And it's one of them where it's a difficult thing to market in the mainstream a lot of the time. But for me, that's the key. Is I almost don't want to see as much as they can possibly come with. Don't get me wrong, but even as it is now, I love the event. I think it's just great. The community, the camping element, I love it. But I'd like to see more exposure. And I almost like, like you've been to Cannabis. I'm sure you've been to other places where it's like, I'd like to see that type of buzz. And I'd like the British people to sometimes get behind something a little bit. We're a bit apathetic sometimes. We don't really like partaking or getting involved in it.
We don't like trouble. And ultimately, most people have the image of going, oh, the event will...
They're worried.
There'll be police or there'll be whatever else, security. And it's the idea is, I often come to an image from The Simpsons, and it's Homer and Lisa sat in the car, and Homer loses his license, and Lisa says, you can't drive, Dad. You've lost your license. And he starts the car and goes, it worked. Yeah. And that's what I feel like happens when people come at this event. They go, it's illegal, but it's happening anyway.
Yes.
Until you see it, until you experience it for the first time, then it's fantasy. But as soon as you touch it and you talk to people and you see this kind of event, you're like, wow. And I did. I walked in 2016. And I met my future, and I've been doing this all revolving and trying to find my space within this ever since. I believe these conversations and this honesty, this transparency, and speaking with fortitude for the plant and for its potential is what's going to give us the freedom we deserve. 100%. Give us back our freedom that we deserve.
100%.
With that said, Sam, it's been a pleasure, brother. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me on.
All right, guys, if you enjoyed this one, do check us out on patreon.com/Simpa Life, everywhere on social media @Simpa Life. We'll be back in 20 minutes to me, probably a couple of days to you. Peace and love.